Hey guys, yeah, a lot of images. We're gonna look at a lot of those that just went by. Um, I'm gonna talk about my love and history of my history and love of 35 millimeter film. I I started this second week of the Olympics, and I didn't realize that my digital antenna was picking up NBC really well. So I plopped down here, sorted through thousands of slides, and yeah, yeah, sorted through all those slides to show you guys, what was going on, watch the Olympics, and yeah, a little sad it's over, but yeah, let's get on with it. So my my history starts in, I think, eighth grade, Mr. Studley's class. It was a bunch of friends and me took that class for a semester. We developed black and white, printed, shot. We did some slide film also, developed that. E6, I think it was E6 process, and yeah, it was a time consuming, but we all kind of shared one image. It was a buddy of Mark's that went over a tabletop, something like that. Later that year, I won an award for second place or something for a shot I took of the sun through the trees, and I think that kind of inspired me. That was around 1980. 1979, 78, 79, my father um, was TDY in Korea. He was a civilian working on base, but I guess he had to go to Korea for a year and translate or whatever he was doing. Um, but he brought back a Canon AE1. It was in the box. It had a lens and a flash, and it just sat up there on a shelf. So from 1979 till just after he died, I asked my mother, could I have that camera? She said, yeah, just take care of it. So I I shot some couple rolls of slide film. Um, there was an Adamant concert with In Excess opening, and I loaded that film that morning, took a bunch of pictures at school, they'll flash up here, and then later at the concert, took a bunch, back row, flash, you couldn't see them, but everybody in front of me was obviously lit up. After the concert, we were hanging out in the parking lot, and we noticed the bus, and In Excess was in there, so we, bunch of 15-year-old kids, we partied with In Excess for a little bit. That was cool. And there was a place called Wayne Insane, insane asylum or old psych hospital. We used to go and sneak in. It was falling apart, but it was cool. We'd go in there and party or whatever, hang out, and there's a couple shaky photos from one of the broken windows up there. Um, and after that, I didn't shoot much slide film for a while. Flash forward to 1995. Um, I'm in college. I'm out of the army and stationed in Hawaii. Just got out. Was going to school at University of Hawaii. My brother came to visit, and he found out that the Canon AE1 died. So he got me this Canon A1. It's essentially the same camera. Um, I still have the lens from what my father got. It's a 50 millimeter 1.4 SSC. It's something super coating or something like that, but it's a really nice lens. Nice piece of glass, fast glass. Um, this was my camera from 1995 to about 2000. Took a bunch of pictures. I started shooting a lot of slides, and The girl I was dating, she'll flash up here. Um, she modeled for me. Yeah, so I I fell in love with it more and more. I was in school for biology and ultimately med school, but I loved photography. So, from 1995 till '98 when I graduated, uh, so the girl I was dating, Minnie, we split up, and I started working with a friend from my computer class, Linda Schatz. Um, it was Kwok at the time, but now she's married to Senator Brian Schatz, and he was also later part of the company. But Linda and I, we met in computer class, and I just loved the way she thought. She was so, she is, I imagine, still really, really bright. We started a company called eLutris, and that was a play on Enhydra lutris. It was that's a scientific name for sea otters. I'm into sea otters. But so we started that company, and we knocked heads so much it didn't work out. She went out on her own. I went on my own. A few years later, I'm dating another woman, Susanna, and she has another camera, same kind of situation. Her father had passed, left a camera. It was another Canon, but I think a T90 with a lens, and I started using that, started shooting that more. My grandfather in Hong Kong, he was getting sick, so I remember from '99 to about 2003, went back every year with my mom to keep her company. But every time I went there, I'd go to Stanley Street in Central, where all the photography shops are, and I would trade something or buy something. And one of the times, I bought this lens. It's so heavy now. So Nikon F4S. I got the body from, I want to say, John Chisholm. He had a company called Photographic Support, and he did a lot of prints for me. He did developing prints and enlarging. But I bought the lens there and started using this more. This went into the bag. I went to paramedic school right after my bachelor's degree. I'd been an EMT for, since I joined the Army pretty much. And eventually I had to become a paramedic. It was a great job, but I took my camera everywhere, and also I'll flash some of those shots up there. But the camera was always with me. One of my preceptors, Don Takara, also into photography, sold me his Hasselblad 500 cm, I want to say. But that was another camera that went to Hong Kong and was traded for an F5. So then this F4 went to the case and stored. And then it was the F5 and this lens for since 2001 until we left Honolulu. So Linda and I met back up. She had started a company called Hubris, and it was also a web company. I was brought on for motion graphics, and later it became photography. And then an old friend, or not an old friend, but one of my partners at work, Danny Villeros, he was a medic, but went to Honolulu Fire Department, and we, Elutris or Hubris, picked up Hawaii Firefighters Association website. They didn't have any materials, any media, and back at that time, nobody had digital cameras or a lot of scanned imagery. So I went and shot a bunch of stuff at Danny's station, and I want to say Pearl City. So most of the work is going to be Honolulu, but Danny was a big key in getting a bunch of that stuff. Later he'd be key also in some other things, but we ended up doing Hawaii Firefighters Association, HPD, and in a place called Alpha Genesis. And I'll show you some of those shots, and they'll flash up right now. But Aaron and me flew out to the Big Island. They had this, I want to say plantation, with a bunch of warehouse kind of buildings where they all did this cloning of plants that typically had a hard time growing in certain places, but it was so interesting. Some of my favorite shots are from there. 2002, I was kind of part-time ambulance then, and I picked up some set medic work on Tears of the Sun with the ambulance, and eventually the lead set medic, Jonas Matz, invited me to join the production. So I worked on Tears of the Sun for, I want to say 3 months, almost 4 months. May till July, end of July, something like that. But that was such a great experience. Frank Massey, he was a still photographer. I learned so much from that dude, man. He had an amazing cart filled with Canon, everything, 3 bodies, and pretty much every lens they made was all in his cart. We were next to him. We had Video Assist next to us. But I was always watching what everybody was doing, especially the lighting. The gaffer, kept an eye on the gaffer a lot. So eventually, after the movie ended, I shot a bunch of stuff on set. We weren't supposed to be shooting, but I think people trusted that I wouldn't be doing anything stupid with those pictures. I had a few people tell me, put a portfolio together and start showing it. That's how it starts. So I put all my slides together I thought were really good, and I started trying to show people what I could do. And I remember, I don't know if it was Pacific Basin Communications, but somebody put out a big book, paperback book of all the businesses in Hawaii, the top 10 of all the businesses and who to contact in those companies. And I went through, looked at all the ad agencies and started just calling all those people, started sending postcards of whatever I thought was good. During that time, I was at Magic Island, and I remember seeing this guy with this giant lens pointing at the surfers out beyond Magic Island. And I asked him, I walked up and I introduced myself, told him what I was doing. I asked him, hey, could I pop? I think it was a Fuji. I was running a cheap digital camera, one of the first, but that was a Nikon mount, so it worked on his monster lens. I want to say it was a 600 millimeter. And we started talking some more, and he said, you know what? Why don't you come by tonight, show me your work. I'll be working on deadline. So I ended up going that evening, brought a binder down with a short stack of slide pages, and he ripped me to shreds. It was the best learning experience I had to that point. That night I took everything out that I remembered everything he ripped apart. So then my 100 images was maybe 20 then. So I had to just keep that in mind. What did he think was good, and try to remember that. So I was, doing the work with Linda and Brian, and things didn't work out again, and I went out on my own, picked up Elutris, and just started pushing web work. One of my first clients was this guy, Dana Edmonds. I don't know if he's still active, but he was one of the best in Hawaii photographer. I did his website, and I stared at his images for 2 months, putting together his layout and all that. And I thought, you know what, I could do that. I started copying his style. He'd put a Dutch tilt on things, and I started putting Dutch tilt on everything. You might see some of that. But eventually I realized I have to come up with my own style. And the thing about Susanna, she always had cooking magazines laying around the house, and I was digging what I was seeing. So I started wanting to shoot food. And Daryl Ishii at Spirit of Aloha magazine, this is one of their later covers, but it was an in-flight magazine of Aloha Airlines. He asked me if I had any shots of plate lunch. And of course I told him, yeah, of course I do. Yeah. As soon as I got off the phone with him, we went and bought plate lunches from all over the place, Hawaiian plate lunches, and came back home, set up a bunch of shots, and the next day or the day after, I got shots to him, and one of them made it into the magazine. I'll post that up there. But that's how it started. From there, Jason Harper, he had just come on as creative director at Honolulu Magazine, and I was bugging the crap out of him. He started calling. The first shot I did for him, I think, was it was the igloo shot, the sushi igloo. And then every month, Dining with Dave at the Hawaii Business Magazine, all part of the same Pacific Basin Communications. Dining with Dave. Dave, man, I forget his name right now. He'd call me every month, say, hey, Ken, I had lunch at such and such. Can you go down and get a shot for me? That was quick, easy money. $200. Any shot that went inside the magazine was $200. Any cover shot was $700. And I used to think that was so cool, but I didn't realize, you're paying almost $100 and all the film you're going to shoot, the driving, the back and forth of the processor. But I wanted my name out there, and that's how it happened. Eventually, I was a food guy for a short time. After Tears, I took out a loan, $35,000 loan, and I bought this Canon. It's so beat up now. Canon 1DS Mark II, and then every prime that I could afford, plus all the gear that still using now. And when I bought gear, I didn't buy it as a photographer. I bought it as a gaffer on a huge production, so some of my stuff is just overkill, but I made it work. So we're at 2003. I was working with Jason Harper, Wes Funai, Hawaii Business. He was calling me quite a bit. Also, Darren Isobe with, at the time, Hawaii Home and Remodeling Magazine. So then, the goal was to get the cover, and American Express put out this. It was a free, free magazine in the Sunday paper, or something like that. But this is kind of a big deal for me. Spent the day with these guys, Alan Wong and Daryl Fujita. I forget his name, but hang out with them, listen to them tell stories and whatnot. That was such a cool time. So then 6 months later, another American Express, Roy Yamaguchi, Jurg Munch. I want to say his name was Pavlos, this guy. I can't remember his name yet, but their food was so amazing. This issue was about what they cook at home for their families. And we're lucky we got to taste that. Another 6 months later, Joan Nam Kung, she and I were shooting a lot of food stuff together. She set up all this, someone's backyard. She brought all the food and the props. And all the lighting is me, but and the photography, of course. But this was another good shoot. Grilling, mostly about grilling. So that was cool. And then eventually, my first cover, Honolulu Magazine. Yeah, I got a stack of magazines back there. A shot in every one of them. And then this was August 2004. The day this came out, the editor and I had a huge fight over this cover. And then that was it for me for all of the magazines, Pac Basin. John Heckathorn, the guy who I got in an argument with, he later died. And I never got to make it right with him. But they did me right, and I didn't know any better. So we got 2004. Oh, Danny died that year. Plane crash with another coworker, another medic, Mandy. They went down on the Big Island, January 2004. That was a big year, and the last conversation that Danny and I had was a bad one also. So I'll live with that. Yeah, but Danny, I owe him a lot. We left Honolulu after that because work was not coming in anymore. Went to Seattle, started the whole thing over again. Golf Magazine, or Travel and Leisure Golf, I think they're out of print now, baby. This was March 2007. They commissioned they asked for shots from Nanea, and that's something I did on the Big Island. Slam Magazine. All of this was after Hawaii. This was all digital. I didn't shoot much film after that. This was, who was it? Oh, Emeka, Quebeca. Guy could slam. Played football and basketball. 6'6", 260. Wow, good guy. Black Enterprise, that was here. So a lot of this stuff was after. Runner's World, Viet Beauty. Oh, and then we have some prints. These are prints from film. Dave Daniels asked me to come down, do team pictures for Lanikai Canoe Club. This is over in Lanikai. I love this shot, Dave hanging out in the back over there. Tungsten in daylight gives a blue hue. I was just playing around with that. Pictures from China. Before Tears of the Sun wrapped, Curtis Fuqua, the younger brother of Antoine, he was asked to do direct a music video for Fiji. And then I got tasked with stills on that music video. That's Fiji. There. Fiji, and then it featured Mystical. I love this light here. This was Kevin, I think his name was, the gaffer. And then Sammy Rotibi. This was the last week of shooting in Hawaii before they moved out to to Virginia. But he had a really powerful monologue at the end of the movie that didn't make the actual feature. It's in the extended cut, I think. Yeah, this was his first film. We still talk to this day. Fatima and her friend. I love this shot. It's actually a vertical shot. I cropped it this way. First, Christina, Andy, and another guy started Andy is a medic. He started a tanning company, asked me to come down and shoot Christina, and that was, whew, that was a hot day. This is one of my favorite shots. It's actually hanging on the wall back there. It's in Beijing. He's trying to get me to eat a scorpion, and I just like this guy back here peeking at me in the back. Alpha Genesis, this was what I was talking about on the big on plants and test tubes. My degree in biology, of course, I appreciate this kind of stuff. Yeah. Beijing. I got work with a couple ad agencies ultimately in Honolulu. Did a bunch of AT&T wireless ads. In Hawaii, they have to tailor the ads to the people, yeah. So not the same as the national AT&T wireless. So this is a regional AT&T wireless. This was one, same AT&T wireless, our little dog Duke. His name was also Kent, and I think they scratched this just before it was supposed to go out, but it was supposed to be another setup like this with him in there. This was one that made it. I printed out my version without their stuff. Newspaper, AT&T, another one. This was kind of neat, hand model. And I think I showed you this one. My stills. Frank Mossy, that guy, he such a good guy. He offered to give me the film and pay for the processing for the music video shoot, and I don't think we ever looked at them after. Curtis never saw these, I think, maybe. So I don't even know if the video came out. And then this is one of my favorite shots. It's not film, but yeah, it's the model and what I got from her. Mindfulness, and let's see if I missed anything. Yeah, this isn't a how-to about taking pictures or starting, but I hope you do. Buy a 35mm camera. Get film. Load it up. Get that anxiety. Man, did that picture come out? You can't look at it. You can't look at the screen, and you just have to guess. You have to hope. There's that. You could start with black and white. You can do that at home. You can develop in your bathroom and put the film on a piece of photographic paper and flip on the lights for a couple seconds, and then. Yeah, simple, just like that, but do it. Film, bring back film. I miss it. This is another thing you'll need if you mess with any kind of film. It's a color film. just like I have set up right now with these lights. I have gels on the lights. If you're shooting, man, there's cobwebs on here, but these are for color correcting the film for so tungsten during daylight, or if you're shooting a really cool scene, warm, cool temperature wise with the film, you warm them up. So I have a bunch of this one, FLD. This is for fluorescent lights. So it's kind of magenta, it counters the green for the magenta. Black and white, a good red filter for black and white film. Anything red will be brighter, whiter. Skin will look whiter. Yeah, so you can get all different colors, but whatever color up you put up there will be blocked. I want to be blocked. Yeah, that wavelength will be toned down. Filters and film. Shoot the film. Thanks, guys. We're gonna cut now, and I'll lead you out with some more photos of my favorite slides. Thanks for watching.